Alright, hello and welcome to a Rational Magic video. Today we're doing the 50 card pack opening purely through the game's card collection service. And draft wins. I've collected 56 packs now. And we're going to hop through this pretty rapid fire. I'm going to stop to talk about any interesting rares that we see. But I definitely don't want this video to be too long. So dive right into it. See what excitement ensues. Scavenging Ooze, the new staple of the format. 2-mana 2/2. Pay 1, exile a creature from a graveyard, put a +1 counter on it. We're going to see this card everywhere for a long time because it is damn good. It is a damn good card. And this is absolutely going to inform what decks I build from this point on. What 50 cards I open. Pursued Whale, same card I drafted in the last video. Pretty awesome. 7-mana 8/8, forces attackers. And spells your opponent's cast at target Pursued Whale, costs 3 more to cast. So it's kind of cute. It's not really constructed worthy. But pretty cool card. Liliana, Waker of the Dead. This is a sick card. 4-mana Liliana, Planeswalker with 4 loyalty. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. +1 ability. -3, target creature gets -X till the end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. And the emblem, beginning of combat, on your turn, put target creature from graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Pretty sick Liliana, and I've actually been thinking about building a deck around this card. Got a hand hate discard deck, which there's plenty of support for in the format right now. Pretty sweet, pretty happy to play Liliana. That's gonna be a lot of fun. But crafting mythics is brutal, and also means you have like no stake in historic if you ever craft cards. Sweet. Sweet Nelly. Mythic. Wild card. 52, what do we got? Open that rare. Storm Entity. This is probably my 4th Storm Entity at the time. Discounts itself by 3 if you cast an instant or a sorcery. It's a 3/3 with flying and prowess. Enters battlefield, scry 2. Pretty cool. Definitely play a Flyers deck with 4 of those. Good old Is It Spells Matters. Glorious Anthem, 3-mana, Lord effect. On enchantment for all creatures you control, +1/+1. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Peer into the Abyss. This is a pretty cool card that I thought would only impact the older formats. And I was totally wrong about that. Peer into the Abyss. Target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life, rounded up each turn. And there's actually a 2-card win con in Standard where you have the enchantment that says whenever an opponent draws a card, they take a damage. And then you cast Peer on the Abyss, targeting them. And they draw like roughly 20 cards and take 20 damage on that turn. So this can be a 2-card combo, 6 mana, like 20 to 30 damage burn spell, which is insane. Which is absolutely insane. Crazy card. Crazy card. Makes me wonder if WotC were aware of that combo when they printed it, like a 2-card win con for 6 mana. In black, in like mono black. Chandra, Heart of Fire, 5-mana 5/5, 5 loyalty, 5-mana 5 loyalty Planeswalker. +1, discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library till the end of turn. You may play cards exiled this way. +1 ability. Chandra, Heart of Fire, deals 2 damage to any target, then -9. Search your graveyard and library for any number of red, instant, and or sorcery cards. Exile them, then shuffle your library. You may cast them this turn, add 6 red mana. Neat, a lot of text. So 5-mana Planeswalker that burns, discards your hand, gives you a little bit more gas. Chandra, every Chandra they print is so samey. It feels like the Planeswalker has an identity crisis. Like in the overall scale of Magic. Like Chandra is artistically pretty cool and like, yeah, somewhat interesting in the lore. But mechanically is so boring. Just does the same exact thing every time they print her. Same exact stuff. Didn't help that we had 6 Chandras, literally 6 different named Chandra Planeswalkers in Standard at the same time. And I'm pretty burnt out in that card. Gadrak, probably my 4th Gadrak. It's a weird that this card doesn't really have much of a home. I think Black-Red would be like the best place to play it. But again, a lot of the removal spells actually exile, which has counter synergy with this card. You don't create the treasures. It requires you to have 4 treasure tokens before it can attack. Otherwise, it's a 5/4 blocker in the air. Whenever a creature dies, create a treasure token. Cool stuff. Kind of a cool card. Haven't really seen him used to any significant effect, but he's a neat old dragon. Animal Sanctuary, pay 2, tap, put +1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Yeah. Feels like an unhinged card, one of the unsets. Ooh, Spark Hunter Masticore. First time I've seen this. 3 mana, colorless, 3/4. Okay. As an additional cost, cast the spell, discard a card. It has protection from planeswalkers. You can pay 1, it deals 1 damage to target planeswalker. Okay. Pay 3, gain indestructible to the end of turn. Why do you exist? 3 mana, 3/4 protection from planeswalkers. Can spend 1 mana to ping a planeswalker. Can spend 3 mana to gain indestructible. So it's just a big, annoying body. Where it goes, I don't know. Maybe you sideboard this in. But does it even really help you? It turns your mana into 1/1 removal for planeswalkers. I don't know. Maybe it finds a home, maybe it doesn't. It's not the kind of planeswalker interaction that excites me. Sublime Empathy. This is a really sick card that I definitely want to experiment with. 6 mana instant with choose 1 or more. So you can choose any number of these effects. Counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, or target player draws a card. So you can have all of those, as many as you can realistically choose. Pretty often, this hits 3 choices most of the time. And ideally it hits 4 out of the 5. Pretty cool. Sublime Empathy. Love those choose counter spell effects. Always very powerful. Transmogrify. 4 mana, exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals cards on top of their library until they reveal a creature card, and the player puts it onto the battlefield. Typically, this is a 3 mana effect. It's sorcery speed. This feels bad. I don't think anyone should ever play this card. I mean, outside of limited, sure, play it in limited, I guess, but even in limited, it's not a fun effect. It's overcosted for what it does. It's sorcery speed. Weak, I say. Weak cod. Containment Priest, 2 mana, 2/2 flash, prevents people from casting cards from their graveyards. Ooh. Yeah, oh wait, yeah. If non-token would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast. So there are a few more applications to this card, but the most obvious one is it prevents casting from graveyard. It doesn't even prevent all graveyard stuff. It's just very specific things. When a card is that specific, it probably doesn't have a home. Teferi, Master of Time. This is a super cool one. So 4 mana, 3 loyalty planeswalker. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time on any player's turn. And anytime you can cast an instant. Really sick. So you get an activation of this at instant speed on your turn and your opponent's. You can +1 draw a card, discard, so +1 loot. -3. Target creature you don't control phases out. Pretty cool. Phasing out, treat it and anything attached to it as though it didn't exist until its controller's next turn. This is a pretty old mechanic being brought back in a very cool way. I liked Fairy a lot. I think he's pretty interesting. And I also like him just simply because I don't think he's a broken card. He does a lot of fair things, and he doesn't just automatically win the game by being on the battlefield. You're very, very motivated to minus this guy, so he doesn't reach his ultimate often, even though his ultimate is take 2 extra turns, which will essentially win the game. He's gonna minus a lot of the time. Cool card. I can definitely think that I'm gonna experiment around with blue in this set. Feline Sovereign, Cat Lord, protection from dogs. Cutie, cutie, cutie. There for the memes, there for the internet. Kind of pandering to pop culture is what that card is doing. Something that Magic is doing more and more frequently. Wizards of the Coast are just pandering to pop culture to drive up that relatability and popularity of their product. This is the Wooburg 5 mana Shrines Matter card. Beginning for upkeep, you may search your library and or graveyard for a shrine and put it onto the battlefield. I hate it. I hate it. Why not just... If you have 5 shrines in your deck, you're probably just going to draw them. I don't know. Maybe I should at least give it a chance, but... Wooburg 5-color shrines. It's probably exciting for someone, not for this guy. Not what I'm about. Obsessive Stitcher, I always love making the graveyard recursion decks work. Maybe my second or third Mongra the Diplomat. This card is designed absolutely for multiplayer. Whenever an opponent casts 2 or more spells or attacks you with 2 or more creatures, you draw a card. The actual wording on this card is horrific and terrible to read. So I'm not gonna touch it. Not gonna touch it. Gold rare card. I had 0 before I started this, by the way. I had 0 mythic and 0 gold. Wild cards. So it'll be interesting to see what 56 packs actually gives you, and whether or not I open the vault too. Will be interesting. That unknown quantity, the vault. This is a weird one. Nyambi, Esteemed Speaker, 2 mana 2/1 with flash. Enters the battlefield, you may return another target creature controlled to its owner's hand. If you do, you gain life equal to that creature's converted mana cost. Spend 3, tap, discard a legendary card, draw 2 cards. So this is trying to combo enter the battlefield effects at instant speed. And I don't exactly know where that's powerful, but it seems like an effect that is powerful in some format somewhere. But probably a little too slow and a little too weak to be that good of a card. Also exact blue-white mana cost. Kind of restricts the deck construction you can have with this card quite a lot. If it was blue or white, the double pip, there'd probably be a deck that could abuse this card, but I don't know. Interesting card. It'd be fun to try to make work. It makes me want to play in Amonkhet with they have some cool flash instant speed interactions. Thieves Guild Enforcer, the tribal card that wasn't supported at all in M21, so maybe in the future this becomes a supported card, but even when it triggers, it's a 1 mana 3/2 flash card with Death Touch. I don't know, even in like a Rogue Matters deck, that's not a very fun card. Not a very interesting card. And it doesn't help they gave it no support. Picking up those wild cards. It'd be interesting to see what I craft after today. Conspicuous Snoop, the 2 mana lets you pull goblins off the top of your library. If goblins are your thing, he's your man. He's your Gobbo, Speaker of the Heavens. This is another card printed for other formats, mostly Commander. 1 mana, 1/1 Vigilance, Lifelink, tap, grade of 4/4. If you have 7 or more life than your starting life total. Has better things to do if you're in the Life Gain Matters deck. It's a card that is only good when you're winning. So, shouldn't play cards that are only good when you're winning. 3rd or 4th whale there. Necromentia. 3 mana, hate card. Choose a card name other than a basic land card. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and a library for any number of cards. With that name, exile them. The downside, then they create a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each card exiled this way, and that is huge. Necromentia, you better already be playing board wipes, because giving your opponent 4 2/2 black zombie creatures, you're spending a card. It's unlikely, you might not even hit what your opponent has in hand, so you're spending a card, going down on disadvantage, and giving the opponent 4 2/2 black zombies a lot of the time. We've just seen way better card hate than this. Like, maybe you can make it work, maybe your deck synergizes enough with that effect, but it's hard to say. Liliana's Standard Bearer 3/1 flash enters the battlefield, draw X equal to the number of creatures that died this turn. It's hard to say if that card will ever find a home. Idle Endurance. This is kind of the joke. In a format where Lurrus exists and he hasn't been banned, which he should, this does exactly the same thing as Lurrus, but at a fair trade-off. So 3 mana, enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards with CMC 3 or less. Note, it does not say all permanents with CMC 3 or less. They couldn't even make the bad Lurrus anywhere near as good as Lurrus. It has to say creatures. And then you can spend 2 mana, tap it, and cast those creatures from among exile. So yeah. Next to Lurrus, this card's an absolute joke. It probably would be very playable if that card didn't exist. And it would be a fun reason to be in just like low to the ground stuff. It's very splashable, requiring one white pip. I can't believe Lurrus is legal. Like, goddamn. Ghostly Pilfer 2/1. When it untaps, you can spend 2 mana to draw a card. You can discard a card to give it unblockable. This is a bit expensive. Like, he's a spirit and a rogue. Both of those creature types matter. There are definitely decks that want to play with spirits and rogues. But I just feel like spending 2 mana to draw and requiring you to jump through hoops to activate this card is not great. What do we got? Fiery Emancipation. Emancipation. It's a little more permanent, I think, than Emancipation. 6 mana. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage. Sure. Like, we have... Are there 2 different cards? We have way better cards that just multiply your sources of damage in Standard. This is kind of the joke 6 mana version of better cards. Certainly wins. It's kind of fun. Somebody will try to make it work. Another, like, extended format card. Chromatic Orrery, 7 mana. Sweet card. You may cast mana as though it were mana of any color. So it turns off the meaning of mana colors. It just makes anything go, which is pretty sweet, and the classic chromatic effect. And then you can tap it for 5 mana. Spend 5 and tap it, draw a card for each color among permanents you control. I love it. This is a sweet card engine. Maybe you try to run this in the Sanctum deck. I don't want the Sanctum deck to even exist, but this is pretty sweet. That's a fun card. Mythic Rare. Shacklegeist, 2 mana 2/2 flyer. Starting to get the hiccups here. Excuse me. Can only block creatures flying. Tap 2 untap spirits you control. Tap target creature you don't control. Woo. There might be. They keep like sneaking in 1 or 2 spirits here and there. There might be enough synergy to run that card for this spirits deck. Sabira, Talzadi Caravaner. That's a name. 3 mana 2/3 with haste. Pay 1. Another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked. Cool. Pay 2 tap. Discard your hand. Land a turn. Whenever your creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay, it's trying to be this like unblockable card draw combo thing. There are just better ways to do this. There are always better ways. There are better ways to be aggro. Kind of a fun card though. Amusement Tome. Like it a lot. Lets you scry, lets you draw. Baneslayer Angel. 5 mana, 5/5, flying, first strike, lifelink. Protection from demons, protection from dragons. Classic reprint. It was funny, this is one of the cards I was actually trying to get through the Jumpstart event, and then realized Jumpstart was actually has a terrible investment value. That was their opportunity, at least in my opinion, to like give people a way to collect historic cards, because there actually is none in the game at this moment in time. Through Jumpstart, it was a really interesting way, but they like couldn't resist putting in the diminishing rarity into the format. And so what I mean by that is, you say you're offered Angels as one of your choices in the Jumpstart format. Angels has 4 possible decks that you could pull, that you could end up with if you chose Angels. 2 of those decks, put my fingers over here, 2 of those decks are exactly the same, and they have some like crap rare that you don't want. One of those decks, move a little over here, one of those decks actually has, like for example, Baneslayer Angel. A card you probably want and would play with and would construct around is one of those decks. So you're spending your resources in game to get a 1 in 4 chance every time you pick a deck to get like the one card that's actually worth something in that deck. So yeah, that was my big reason to stop playing it. It was an interesting format, but really it was just a drain on your in-game resources, the thing that WotC don't want you to have. And there wasn't really a reason to be doing it. There was this opportunity to collect historic cards and to experiment with them in like an interesting and controlled format. But it's not what it ended up being. It's just there's this like design philosophy in card games where like rarity always has to be a thing. It's like your game won't have value or significance unless you input rarity at every level of the game. And it's a detriment. It's definitely somewhere it's a detriment. Second Peer into the Abyss. I'll have to pull out that combo deck. Might be something a little different. Might be like a combo hand hate deck. Scavenging Ooze. The most playable ooze. Pulling that Mythic. Pulling that Standard Bearer. Probably my 4th Standard Bearer. Runed Halo. Choose a card name. Your opponents can't cast cards with that name. Basri Ket, 3 mana Planeswalker. +1, put a counter on up to 1 target creature, gains indestructible to the end of turn. -2, whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn, create that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. -6, you get an emblem beginning of your combat. Create a 1/1 white soldier token, then put a +1 counter on each creature you control. Boring, boring, boring. Boring, boring, boring. White stuff does white stuff. Grim Tutor, 3 mana tutor. Probably not playable in Standard. Maybe I run one of in a combo deck. There's only one combo deck I know of that I consider running. There it is, we open the vault. 100% progress. Mythic Wildcard. Pack Leader, 2 mana, 2/2 dog, prevents combat damage 2 dogs on your turn. The Dog Lord. The Dog Cat deck is actually like pretty real, kind of a fun way. 2 mana flash, bounce something. They're definitely like, it's probably popular, the dog deck. It's kind of neat that the Dog Cat deck has enough support to actually be a thing now. Joel Ray L. One Volley Recluse. Joel Ray L. One Volley Recluse. 2-mana 1/2. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 green cat. Sweet. Pay 6 till end your turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness. XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Pretty cool. This card is extremely powerful. This is actually a really good commander card. The problem being that green doesn't have good card draw. But pretty neat. This is kind of the cornerstone of one of the cards that makes the cat deck really strong. That's quite a competitively statted card. Has some competitive text. Chandra's Incinerator reduces the cost by dealing non-combat damage. Kind of an anti-synergy with itself. Speaker of the Heavens, tap to create 4/4. Little dudes. Heroic Intervention. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. Pretty sweet. Had to pick up a few of these. Because the price has dipped, this card went up massively in price. But due to reprintings in Double Masters, I thought it was Double Masters and M21 they reprinted this card in. The price has gone way down, so pick some of those up for Commander. If you're an in-paper player, now is the time. An in-paper player. So weird. 3 mana, you might play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. 3-mana 1/2. Has power in extended formats. Is amazing with like fetch lands and things that let you cast lands from the graveyard, like the Ruminap Excavator style of decks. 3 mana Lord effect. Gold. What else we got? Garrick's Harbinger. This is an amazing guy. This is the very first time that I've pulled Harbinger in any of my drafts and any of my packs. And this is a big reason why Gruul aggro is actually very strong right now. 3-mana 4/3 hexproof from black. When it deals combat damage to a player, you look at that many cards. From your library, you may reveal a creature card or Garrick. From among them, put it into your hand. The rest go in the bottom of your library in a random order. Amazingly statted creature. Huge beater, kind of requires giving him trample somehow, but kind of a badass. And we'll open up Amonkhet. Sick. Ronus. 5/5 Death Touch, indestructible, really easy to activate. Ronus is massively good. He's an amazing card. Never return, destroy target creature, planeswalker. Aftermath, exile target card from graveyard, create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. A 2/2 token. Okay, so that opened up Vault Progress. Contains 1 mythic, 2 rares, 3 uncommons. That's kind of pathetic. Like, I opened 56 plus 2. I opened 58 packs, and I get 1 mythic, 2 rares. From the Hidden Vault Progress. That's actually kind of pathetic. So, like, if I were to go into the store and say you wanted to buy 50 packs of cards, what would that cost you? I had 58 packs. So that would be, what, 8 plus 13? Almost 2 of these. So that's almost 12,000 gems. Almost 12,000 gems to open the same number of packs that I just did by buying them in-game. And 12,000 gems is like a little under 4 times this. Say it's 3 times this. Let's just be generous. It's a little bit under 4 times. Let's say it's 3 times. $60. You could spend $60 on gems, spend them all opening packs, open the same amount of packs that I did for $60, and be gifted 1 mythic, 2 rare, 3 uncommon wildcards for $60. Yeah. Card acquisition in games like this are so suspect, especially because being a digital game, nothing you open has value. And like I said earlier, it can happen where a set is taken out of the game and then reintroduced to the game where you have none of the cards. For example, Amonkhet Remastered. Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation were in Magic the Gathering. They were in this client. A lot of people, including myself, collected all of the cards from the set. The set was then removed from the game when it went live, and then now, at a later date, an arbitrary date, they reintroduced the set into the game and you own 0 of the cards. You could have spent $60 opening Amonkhet packs, had every single card removed the game and reintroduced to the game without you owning a single one ever again. Like the cards, this collection, this collection of cards you're building has 0 value. It has 0 value. If you spend $60 on cards, on actual paper playing cards, they have their own intrinsic value. They can be traded and bartered. And you're not really like, you're not even losing much money compared to the resale value of cards these days. But this is a different story. So be responsible with the monies. Thanks for watching. This has been Rational Magic. Come back for more limited or Magic Arena content each and every day. Thank you for watching.